What's going on, guys? My name is Wolfcode, and today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips for Mythic Plus. I'm rated 3659 right now, all Brazil 18s, and I'm going for that 1%. And these are some things that I've learned along the way. All right, let's get into it. All right, here's 2 tips in one. The first one, as a DPS, which is what I mainly play, you want to wait for the tank to gather the mobs before you start doing DPS, especially at higher keys. If you pull aggro or dump your load before the tank gathers, you're going to brick your key. You're going to die, or you're going to lose a lot of DPS when all the mobs are gathered up. So here's an example right here, and you're going to see the second point towards the end. All right, this is a 17 sky reach, I believe. Sorry, 18 sky reach. Okay, and as the key starts, you can see nobody's really doing anything. I'm popping an immolation aura and a few consumes along the way just to build some souls, but everybody's just kind of cruising along, following the tank till we get to the end here. He gathers them up all nicely, and now we start doing DPS. Okay, so that's what you want to try and do for every mob pack that the tank gathers. Now, for the second tip, you're going to see here in a minute, you want to utilize your defensives effectively, but you also want to help your team out, okay? Look, I just dropped a darkness, okay? Normally on this pull, sometimes they'll pull the double raven and there will be 2 screeches coming out. So that's why usually I drop a darkness here, just to help out the healer and the team to minimize the amount of healing that the healer has to do and the amount of damage that the team takes. So think about that. Whatever utilization your class has, think about how you can help your team out. It's going to save a lot of keys. It's going to help your healer out. And it's just generally a good thing to do. Okay, here we are. Skyreach. Same run. This is the platform just at the end of that first hallway. I'm utilizing Skyreach for a lot of these tips because Skyreach has a lot of mechanics and important interrupts in it. So tip number 3 is utilize your kicks and know your enemy abilities effectively. Okay, you're gonna see these driving gale callers. I have one focused right here. They're gonna cast these repels. They need to be interrupted ASAP. Okay, ideally you wait for the second one to cast, and then you can use a stun, like I used Chaos Nova. If you don't know what casts to interrupt, you're going to die, okay? Because if we didn't interrupt that, it would send us flying off this platform and the key would be bricked. Now, the only way to learn these abilities that you need to interrupt is by doing dungeons and watching guide videos. So if you want to time some keys, some higher keys, you got to put in that work. That's just how life is, right? You got to put in the work if you want to achieve success. So know the interrupts, know what abilities need to be stopped, and you'll time more keys. Okay, here we are. Tip number 4. This tip is to utilize your defensives, not just in an emergency, but preemptively. I know we talked about defensives in tip number 2, but that was more of like a team utilization aspect and team utility. This is like a preemptive planning of helping your healer out when an ability comes up that is going to stress their resources. So on this pull, these constructs, Solar Flame, right now it's targeting the Paladin. You're going to see when it targets me, oh, sorry, the second one's there. So it's targeting me right now. So that's actually a good tip that I didn't use my blur when I should have. And this is another good reason to go over VODs if you're really trying to improve. And there it is. It's targeting me again. And I just popped blur at the end. So that's something I can improve upon, right? But the point is, I should have used that blur when I see this cast going off targeted towards me, right? Because that's going to help the healer out and save his resources. And it's not just an emergency, right? Like not using blur, it's not going to kill me, but if I did use it, then it's just saving damage, like unnecessary damage that you don't need to take. And actually, in the boss fight, there's a situation that I'll show you guys where I use it preemptively. Okay, here's another beam for the boss. Solar beam. And there you go. I just popped a blur, taking some damage. I'm just trying to help the healer out, right? That blur is going to help mitigate some of that so he doesn't have to throw as many resources at me. So that's kind of the idea of how you want to use your defensives. You want to use them preemptively before you take damage to help your healer out. Here we are, tip number 5. And that is to know your routes and pull volume so that you can plan cooldowns effectively. Okay. In this example, here we are in Mythic Caverns. I have my meta ready. This pack's pretty much done, right? I mean, like, there's a quarter left of this this mob here, but I'm gonna hold it. Why would I pop meta right now when this pack's pretty much done? Right? I know that as soon as we go down these stairs, we're gonna have to pull all these mobs down here right before the boss. So I'm gonna save this so that I can utilize it down here. Now, some might argue that I could have used it and held it or kept generating as we go, but that's part of your class knowledge. I know that historically, I'm not going to be able to generate enough resources if I'd used it there. I probably would have lost my meta right here. And then now what? I have to start generating right at the start of this pull? No. So I kept it, and now, right after the tank gathers, boom, let's drop it. Now I can utilize my meta here, get rid of these priority mobs quicker, instead of wasting it at that pack that was done and then having to build up resources on my way down and hoping that you have it for this pull. That just comes with repetitions of the dungeon and, again, watching guides. All right, and here's a bonus tip for you guys. I think a lot of people know this, but I'll just say it anyways. All these tips that I've given you become a lot easier when you don't have to think about your class rotation. If it's just second nature, you can scan around on the screen without having to look at your ability bars because you already know what to cast and when to cast it. The only way to develop that is by playing and also practicing your rotation on dummies. And you don't have to do it like religiously for hours on end, just like 5 minutes a day. You know, you log in, maybe do a little warm up, you know, cast your rotation a little bit, just get the feel for it. And then it just becomes second nature, which will allow you to scan the screen more and notice things you otherwise wouldn't because you're focusing on your rotation. You can notice a lot more things when you don't have to think about what you're doing with your rotation. Okay? That's just a little bonus for you guys. I think a lot of people know that, but I think it can't be understated enough. Everything becomes easier when you don't have to think about it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's it for my tips. If any of these helped you, please hit that like and subscribe button. It lets the algorithm know that you like what you see. And let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.